Hi everybody, welcome to the sampler. We're going to start on October's block. So to begin with, we're going to make half square triangles, and what I did was I marked a diagonal line and I sewed on both sides of the line, and now I'm ready to cut it apart and press it. So let me do that. Let me just cut it. I saved you guys a step, so you didn't have to watch me make a half square triangle, at least for this. So this was using the 4 7/8 inch squares to make these half square triangles. So I just ironed it flat, and now I'm just going to press it to a side, the darker side. And you're going to end up with a total of 4 of these. So here's your half square triangle, and I'm going to clip off these and then move on to the next step. Okay, so there's one of them. Now we're going to take the 5 1/4 inch squares, and we're going to make half square triangles out of these. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw a line on the back side of the lighter fabric. So let me do that. Okay, good enough. Right sides together. And then you can pin this in place or just make it work, but I'm going to pin it. And again, I'm making a half square triangle, and I'm sewing a 1/4 inch on either side of this. And this again is using the 5 1/4 inch squares. I'm going to sew on the other side. Okay, just like we've always done with half square triangles, mark a line, sew on both sides of it, cut it apart. Right down the middle. I'm going to press it towards the darker fabric. And you want to be consistent with that, making sure you always press it to that same color side, because it does make a difference in this. All right, so here's my half square triangle. I'm going to cut off those extra bits at the end because they just add a lot of bulk. Okay, so here are my 2 half square triangles. You're actually going to have 4 of them. On the back side, I'm going to draw a diagonal line on 2 of them. So I want my diagonal line to be perpendicular to the other sewing line. So let me put that on there, and you'll see what I mean. So I know you can see the line down here, but you got this line that goes all the way here. Not this way, but I want to go that way. And then I'm going to put these 2 together, right sides together, with, like, say, the dark blue on opposite sides. So they're going to go together like this. So what we're making are quarter square triangles. I get that out. And I want that center seam to meet, and since I iron them always towards the dark fabric, then they meet really nicely in the center. You can kind of feel it when they touch, the two seams touch each other. I'm going to pin it in place. Okay, again, I'm going to sew this way, both sides of that mark line. Now for the other side. Okay, I'm going to take out my pins. I've sewn on both sides. I'm going to cut it apart on that marked line. And this is a really nice way to make quarter square triangles where you don't have to sew little tiny triangles on the bias. Okay, so when I open it up, it looks like this. So I'm going to press it. Doesn't matter which side you press it to. Put this up here for a second so you can see that. All right, so I'm going to cut off these little bits on the ends. Let me do that first. It is all trimmed. So now I am going to form this little unit down here. And the trick to that is I have little squares. And so I'm going to mark a diagonal line on the back side of all these little squares. So let me do that. Okay, so here's my line. And I want to be the blue to be that little tiny square at the bottom. So what I do is I take this square, I line it up in the corner, and I'm going to put a pin here so I can show you better. Okay, so here's my dark blue, here's my square, and I'm going to sew right on that line that I marked. Not a 1/4 inch away, but right on that line. And I'm going to do that with both of these. And I'm going to take out, I didn't like the way I pinned that, so I'm going to take that out. All right, let me get my needle back in the center. Okay, I'm going to do the same thing on this one. I have it so that my dark fabric is on the bottom. My diagonal line is going this way with that, what's going to be that little square at the bottom. Okay, so I've sewn this on, and when I fold it back, it's going to look like this. So let me iron that. Okay, so this is what it looks like right now. I'm going to take this top piece, fold it back, and trim off the excess here. So I want to leave about a 1/4 inch seam right here. So you can measure it, or you can just wing it. It's not critical to be a 1/4 inch, but I wouldn't be really scant either. You definitely want it to be a 1/4 inch or larger. Okay, so now I'm going to take another marked square and put it in this corner, so it's going to form a V. So when I fold it back, it's going to look like that. Okay, so again, I'm going to stitch right on that marked line. And do the same with this one. So I want that square to be right in that corner. I'm going to iron it. I'm going to iron it to the side. Okay, can you see how we formed that unit? And I'm going to again fold this back. Fold the top piece back and trim this to a 1/4 inch. I'll measure it this time. Okay. So now I can take all the parts and pieces and form the block. Okay, so that's the block. So now I'm just going to sew it together in rows. can move my needle over because I had moved it to the side so I could sew on that marked line. Now I want a 1/4 inch again. Okay. I'm going to wait to press it. I'm just going to put everything back for right now. Okay, I'm going to sew this. Okay, so on these, this is the center one. So I'm going to press the center seam towards the center seam. Yeah, the one in the middle. It's going to be pressed towards that center square because it's going to lay nice and flat. Okay, so these are pressed in. Because those are pressed in, then these seams are going to get pressed out. So I'm going to go towards those half square triangles. Again, I'm pressing it towards the half square triangle. If I went towards that center unit, it would be really bulky and not lie as flat. Okay, so now I'm going to sew it together and pin it here where these seams meet. So I'm going to pin the seams, and they're going in opposite directions, which is good. All right. I'm going to go ahead and iron this, and I'm going to iron it, which way? I'm going to iron it towards this side with the half square triangles. I think it's going to lay just a little bit flatter. Okay. I'm going to add this piece at the bottom, again pinning at the seams. Okay, so again, I'm going to press it to the top seam or bottom seam, whatever you want to consider it. All right. So that's what the block looks like. Thanks.